Hello and welcome to episode 86 of Nolo Time. My name is Jovet Velez and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good, Nolo Time? Good to be back again with you. Obed, it's a pleasure as always.
Yeah, man. Hyped to be here again. A little drained, but we're here.
Yeah, we here.
Yeah, we're here. We may not be back next week, so we want to give you guys that heads up. Next week is a very busy week for us at work. And I have some personal things in the way as well, family. So we may not come to you next week, but stay tuned. And again, follow us on the Twitters and whatnot to find out if we're gonna be in or not. So, but just a quick heads up, Joel. What's up, man? I know that you're excited because you were able to go see a movie pretty early and you were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, surprise, guys. I was able to watch this last weekend some of the early screenings going on for Shazam. For some of you may have known that Fandango was participating in an early event for exclusive only through Fandango. You could buy these tickets for early screens of Shazam this last weekend. I was able to see it on. Because it wasn't even on the weekend. It was just on one day. It was a March 23rd, one-day event kind of thing. And I was able to cop some tickets for that, thankfully, through some people that I reached out to, and they got me in because those seats were selling out pretty quick. Warner's was really pushing it big time too. I got email from my DC subscriptions and other places, so they were really trying to push people to get out and buy tickets for this event. I had a great time, Obed. This movie was a pleasant surprise for me. I think the reason why they even did this event is really just because they needed the word of mouth for this film. Just looking at the projections for this movie, it comes out this coming week. The projections are that it's going to be in the range of 40 or 50 million for opening weekend. Very obscure, very strange. But yeah, they are saying that this movie is gonna, now with the publicity, hopefully it makes somewhere in the range of maybe 100 million. We'll see. I personally, Obed, think that it's up there with some of the best of DC. And
Nice.
their movies have come out. I don't like to compare. I think it's its own unique movie, and DC's doing something different than Marvel, so I completely agree. But if you wanted me to give a comparison, I'd say it's one of those pleasant surprises, kind of like Ant-Man,
Okay.
where you watch it, this is pretty good. I actually enjoy this. I think it's funny. That's the problem, I think, though, with the movie, man, is that they marketed this movie so wrong. After watching, it was marketed as just this
Like a goofy comedy.
Comedy, kid in a man's body, and he's just goofing off like a running around tweener.
Yeah, it was like Freaky Friday superhero edition, sort of.
Exactly. Yeah. And this movie has way more of a cohesive story than it even appears. Mark Strong does a fantastic job as Dr. Sylvana. There's another pretty awesome setup for a future villain that I'm really excited about, assuming that they make more of these. Huh?
The Rock.
No. Well, I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, okay.
There's some Rock flavor in there. I'll say that much.
All right.
But another villain actually that
Nice.
got me a little okay. I was like, I see
That's
what you're
good.
doing, DC. So I like that. It again, you assumed the Rock that I was talking about, and I was talking about something different. That's what I'm saying by they take these unique twists and turns in this movie that you wouldn't suspect, and that's for the better, I think.
Nice.
So yeah, going in with low expectations, had a great time. I really do recommend you guys go out and watch it because it was actually decent. Couple little things here and there that could be fixed, but overall, just a fine film.
Yeah, and you told me about something that you hit the nail right in the head. We're not gonna talk about it, but we talked about it offline.
Offline, I gave you a little scoop on something that I mentioned a few weeks back about maybe a certain character that's could be in the movie, and yeah, there's some interesting tidbits there. You'll see it when it comes out April 5th in theaters. But yeah, guys, check it out.
Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, just go back. I want to say about a couple months worth of episodes.
Yeah.
And Joel was like 100% correct on his prediction. So that's pretty good. Joel, not much on my end, man. Finished DMC5 last weekend. Again, fantastic game. So I'm looking forward to replaying on harder difficulties. That's pretty much it, man. I had a very busy weekend with other things, so I didn't have really a lot of time to game or really watch anything. So I know that this week I'm probably gonna try and catch Aquaman now that it's out for rent. Yeah. I'm gonna rent it.
Good idea.
So I'm gonna try and catch that, or Spider-Verse, whichever one I find first. So
nice.
So I'm gonna try and catch those. But yeah, DMC5 again, guys, really freaking good. It's so good, Joe. Yeah, there's a few moments there that I was like actually stood up. I was like, yo, let's go. Yeah, it's hype. It gets super hype towards the end. Very good. Like, yeah, that totally exceeded my expectations. So again, I can't wait to play it again on a harder difficulty and for DLC to drop, and I'm pretty sure that more things are going to drop. The final DLC for Final Fantasy 15 dropped Tuesday, the episode Arden, so I am looking forward to playing that. I haven't bought it yet. I may just buy it tomorrow, download it, and either play it over the weekend or play it, somewhere in the near future. But I really want to go back to DMC because it's so good. So yeah, that's pretty much on my end. Nothing too crazy. Joe, well, we do have some Avengers updates. One that actually dropped today. That was the one that I was telling you about. So I actually called you earlier today, and I guess you were busy. But were you able to see the Chinese poster?
I did.
For Avengers,
yeah,
with Valkyrie and Wong on it.
Yep.
That was pretty good.
Pretty awesome.
Pretty good. And then you can tell that Gamora's one of the ones in the bottom. I was trying to find Loki. I couldn't identify him, though. I'm not sure if he's there. But that was an interesting poster.
Oh, yeah. I'm so hyped, man. The marketing on this movie over the last week has just been crazy. I mean, these posters are great, showing the Avenge Us or Avenge the Fallen. Like, it's such a great way of getting the feels for all the fans. A little interesting tidbit of one character that I did not suspect to be a fallen hero. And that's Shuri. I did not think that she was gone, but then when they had it on there, I'm like, wait a second.
So on the first trailer, she's one of the ones that Bruce Banner has on the screen, and he's going like this. So yeah,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. So that's it's very interesting. Like I said, I was looking for who of the fallen may survive. That weren't not there. We know Gamora's been spotted, so we know that she's gonna be back for sure. It's interesting. And now TV spots are dropping. They're not really spoiling too much with those TV spots, but yeah, marketing is full. It's in full effect right now, so it's pretty good. Yeah,
I was going to say, jumping off that, I think the big thing that came out this week was the runtime for this movie. And, Obed, it's 3 hours and 2 minutes, and, bro, I ain't mad.
No, I'm not mad either. That's what? Titanic is like 3:14?
That movie's too long.
Yeah. Oh, that movie's too long. That's Two Towers. I think Two Towers is around 3 hours and 2
Lord
minutes.
of the Rings. Yep.
I mean the regular version, the director's cut's like 3:45. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm not. Yeah, like you said, I'm not mad.
I ain't mad, bro.
We watched. Isn't the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman probably around the same? It's like 3:05.
And I refuse to watch anything else but the ultimate cut of that movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so good.
Because it's so much superior compared to the theatrical version. Yeah, man. I'm pretty excited. I mean, it looks like they're gonna really wrap this thing up the way that we expected them to do. So.
Yeah, man.
I can't wait for this friggin' movie.
It's going to be an event. You're going to be walking into a movie theater. Let's just give a hypothetical time for the sake of conversation. Say it's 6 p.m. and you ain't gonna leave that theater until maybe close to 9:45 when you're talking about previews and everything that's going on. It's gonna be an event.
Yeah, I mean, if you go night of, right?
Right.
I may be smart, take that day off, and just go in the morning. That's knock it out.
It's gonna be amazing, man. A lot of sweaty nerds.
Yeah. I mean, I figured that when I watched Infinity War, I did the same thing. I watched it around like 2:30 in the afternoon, and it was probably like 10 people in the movie theater. No one was yelling. Everyone was really excited, but we were all like calm nerds, and and it was a great experience. So I'm hoping that this one will be the same. And I've been doing that whenever I'm excited for a movie. I just go early and watch it in like the morning. I did that for the last 2 Star Wars. Did it for Avengers. I haven't done it for Captain Marvel. I really want to go see it beforehand. Again, if I don't see it, I'll just pull a Black Panther and then catch up whenever it comes out. So, but yeah, that's pretty exciting. And also, there was some news this week, Joel, that a major A-list actress may be joining the MCU. And I am not very familiar with the property, Joel, but just go ahead in your sweaty nerdness and tell us what's up with that.
Yeah, guys, I'm excited to get into this one. So Marvel has been talking about, or at least it's been rumored and speculated about the Eternals film coming. The Eternals is a Jack Kirby obscure property that not many people, like you said, but even yourself, are familiar with. To be honest with you, I have very limited knowledge of the Eternals, but I can tell you this much: they are a group of celestial type beings. We're talking like how Ego was. Also, Thanos himself is actually one of the Eternals. Believe it or not,
Galactus.
From Galactus. We've seen them before, is the point. But the Eternals are these godlike people that have lived on Earth among humanity. People just didn't know who they are, but they did inspire some of the great mythology and legends of Earth, specifically Greek mythology. The main characters being people like Icarus, Circe, and Mercury. You hear these names, you already can see where they are supposed to say they inspired, certain legends that came out from them. Angelina Jolie in talks now to join this movie as a lead. The director seems to be putting together her cast. There's been rumors of even Luke Evans being Icarus for the film. We'll see if that happens. But Angelina Jolie coming in, and if we had to put 2 and 2 together, probably going to be Circe. It would make sense. I mean, she would make perfect sense for that character. If you look into it a little more, she's a character that has a lot of ability to move matter, and also some like telekinesis type, psychological powers, right? Controlling minds or whatever. So Circe would make sense for Angelina Jolie, and if she's going to be the lead, I mean, she's the #1 female in the Eternals comics. So yeah, I'm all on board for this, actually. Angelina Jolie is a very talented, mature actress, and I think that's what's served Marvel well with a lot of their leads and even their newer properties like this. They've given very mature actors these opportunities. When I think about obviously Iron Man, you had Robert Downey Jr., who had been in the industry for a long time. When I think of the obscure stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy, you had Zoe Saldana, who's not foreign from acting, with some of the other newcomers in the film or rising stars, right? But there's always been these characters that can really deliver moments and really stand, and people take them seriously when they're watching, and not be like, that character on the side's a joke. And Angelina Jolie wouldn't be that actress. She's just a very talented actress, regardless of what you might think of her as an individual. So, I'm very excited about that. Of course, if you get an actor like Luke Evans also beside her, and according to the Hollywood Reporter, the only plot that we really know is that it's going to be a very strong love story between Icarus and Circe. So with them casting Cersei, that probably means Icarus will be coming around soon. Let's just be speculating here. But Obed, what's your thoughts on Angelina Jolie joining the Eternals?
Yeah, again, I'm not very familiar with the property. She's a great actress. I absolutely like the idea. Right, I'm on board. Like you said, and I think that just piggybacking back on what you said, Marvel has been very cautious and very smart about their casting choices. I just forgot to, while we were talking about Avengers, forgot to mention the Terrence Howard Avenge the Fallen poster.
Yeah.
Because I mean they know when things work and they don't, and they're not shy about making a choice.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great choice. She can definitely carry a film. She's carried multiple films that have been sort of mediocre, and she, because of her presence, it just makes it a lot more enjoyable. If the casting is right, and if they get the right people involved, absolutely, I'm on board. I think, Joel, I don't know if you saw that there was a rumor early this week that apparently they reached out to Zac Efron for Adam Warlock.
I did hear about this, and Zac Efron, I'm not gonna say it's been confirmed, but there is a pretty reputable media outlet. This is from like maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago. That they actually put out a report saying that Zac Efron, because Marvel does this from time to time, they'll just bring actors in just to meet with them, talk to them about, would you be interested just to work with us at some point in the future, just to have a relationship. And Zac Efron's one of the actors that talked about. Some people thought maybe Namor, some other stuff, but it makes sense if they've had a good relationship with him. Adam Warlock coming in for Guardians 3, they got to move that project along pretty quick. That's a really strong choice. I'm not a crazy Zac Efron fan per se, but when you think about Adam Warlock, this young, angelic looking person, well, I can see where you pick Zac Efron.
Exactly, I can see that too. I mean they're really making very smart choices with casting. I'm curious again to see what the next phase is going to be, what properties they're going to bring in, what's going to happen to X-Men after Phoenix. That's probably based on what I heard. That I think X-Men is just going to get rebooted for sure.
Oh, I've been saying that since the Fox acquisition at the beginning. I can't see Feige keeping that. He just doesn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's continuity issues. Like, I was just thinking about it. Right, it's funny because this week I was like thinking about the new X-Men movies, meaning from First Class up until now. So First Class was in the 60s. Apocalypse was in the 80s. This one's supposed to be Apocalypse. The Days of Future Past was 70s. Yeah.
Yep.
Apocalypse was 80s. It's supposed to be in the 90s. Magneto's supposed to be already like friggin' 70 years old, and he looks 45, and it's like it's getting to me, right? At this point, in the 90s, Magneto should look like Ian McKellen, and he does not. He does not. And that to me, like, just thinking about it, it's like, oh, there's like narrative dissonance when it comes to, like, I mean, they can say it's like, oh, they're very powerful mutants, so they age, they're aging and whatnot.
But then why'd you connect it?
They don't because that's why you have mutants that don't age, like Wolverine, and so that's how. I was in my head just creating plot holes for this thing for Disney to just go ahead and just blow it up.
One of my favorite movie YouTubers, he always talks about Fox when this is before the acquisition, and he would say at the headquarters of Fox, they have a big plaque on the wall, and it reads, continuity schmontinuity. Like they just don't care. Like, if it makes money, we'll make it work somehow, and that's rough. And it only works for so long.
I know, it's rough. And then and you see how now they're really separating the two universes, the two X-Men franchises almost, if you wanna call it, because of how Phoenix was handled on X3, and now Phoenix is back in a younger Jean, and it's really weird. Again, I hope that this movie is actually good. I'm hoping for the best, right? But
I don't expect
rough.
it to be. I didn't like Apocalypse that much. I don't expect it to be much
just
better.
fine. Yeah, that movie was just fine. It had its moments, but yeah, it was thoroughly underwhelming. I mean, it wasn't. The thing is that it had to live up to Days of Future Past, which is like generally a fantastic movie because it's probably is my favorite of the X-Men movie of the Fox X-Men movies. Yeah, it's by far. I mean, it's much superior to everything. But then at the same time, it's
forgotten. It's forgotten. It's a movie that like you probably will forget about when Marvel relaunches this. It's the same way I feel about the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield. People are like, those movies are fun. They're going to be forgotten.
Oh yeah,
and they probably should be.
I totally forgot that exists.
See, that's what I'm saying, and that's not even that long ago. That's my point.
I haven't like 6 inches away from it.
It's a forgotten franchise.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's not great, but when you launch something right, I think that will set things in the right course.
It just sticks. It sticks for sure, yeah. The thing with, Days of Future Past, man, I really love that movie.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
So good.
But the thing is that, again, whenever you revolve something around Wolverine, except Origins, everything else that's been Wolverine or centered around Wolverine was really good, yeah. Origins was a different story. We know what happened there. It's like
sure.
Completely different problem during production that happened during that movie. So, not
having Wolverine play a prominent role in like Apocalypse just as the first example.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole cameo is very different.
Yeah, but then you have Logan, which is like, oh my god,
good,
it's so good. But it's like it's funny because Logan is fantastic.
So good.
Like it doesn't like as a standalone thing and as an X-Men movie and as a drama, it's
a film.
It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh!
But it's not my favorite X-Men movie. Days of Future Past is still my favorite. So, we'll see. I guess we'll find out potentially after Avengers. I don't know. I mean,
I think we'll find out at Comic-Con. That's probably because there's no schedule, and it's gonna be like 2014 Comic-Con where they just drop everything. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Joe. Let's go ahead and move on to the next Disney property because we need to pay our checks, our bills over here. We need to collect. So there's a supposed leaked poster for Star Wars Episode 9. Which looks like promotional material for merchandise. It doesn't necessarily mean or look like this is a movie poster. This looks like more of a merchandise, a standee or something that you would see at Walmart attached to the toys or whatever. A very interesting poster. We sort of knew that Kylo Ren was going to come back wearing his mask. We saw that leaked a few weeks ago. So Kylo is wearing his mask. Knights of Ren are there. I don't think those stormtroopers are red. It's just because of the lighting. They look red.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't necessarily think they're red. What's the two things that really jumped to me on this poster, Joe, is one. The more obvious is that Rey's wearing a more Jedi-like type of outfit, and it's white. It looks really nice. It looks really clean, and I really like it. And also the lightsaber, you can't see the hilt that well, so it's not clear if it's a reconstructed Luke's lightsaber or if it's a brand new lightsaber. But the thing is that the blade to me looks a shade of white versus the typical blue that this lightsaber has. So that's the first thing that jumped to me. Second one, what's friggin' C-3PO with a bowcaster and ammo? What is C-3PO dies confirmed?
No, he can't die. C-3PO and R2-D2 has been in every single Star Wars movie there is.
Well, Anthony Daniels says that's it. This is the last time he's going to play C-3PO. So.
Oh my goodness!
Said it a few months ago.
It's depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. There's a lot of thoughts I have about this. First of all, being the Knights of Ren being in this poster.
Finally.
Oh my goodness, it's amazing to see them. The only thing that bothers me about it is that they look to be holding generic type weapons, not lightsabers, and I wanted lightsabers.
No, they didn't have lightsabers on the original concept art for Force Awakens. The thing is that what's interesting now, Joel, the thing because and I was gonna call him Darth Plagueis, but the freaking jobber bad guy, Snoke. I even forgot his name.
Oh no, man! Star Wars, bro. Come on. No, I know.
So that's
that's another podcast.
It's a whole separate podcast for that. So Snoke mentioned the Knights of Ren on Last Jedi. Rey saw the Knights of Ren with Kylo, but was that a flash forward? Was she seeing the future through the Force, or what was she seeing when she grabbed the lightsaber on Force Awakens? Was that a flash forward, or was that a flashback, or was that the present? Well, it wasn't the present because Kylo was on his way there. So, yeah, that was a very interesting thing. That when I saw the Knights of Ren again, and got reminded that was a thing. Got reminded of that scene on Force Awakens. So, yeah, what do you think?
I will say though, I think that's one of that whole sequence there. In reality, I think is one of the many mistakes that people were mad about with Last Jedi. You and I both think Last Jedi is fine, but I do think it's one of those little mistakes where the lightsaber kind of is revealing through the Force to Rey the past, but also pointing her to the future. And I think to some degree that past had to do with that lightsaber being desired by Kylo Ren. And maybe I think the Knights of Ren were supposed to have had some type of prior interaction with Luke. Because obviously we saw Kylo and Luke had their history, from training. There could have been some type of past history there. That's just my guess when it comes to that flashback there, because everything kind of, at least I believe it to be a flashback, because everything seemed to be from the past, except for the last line.
Yeah.
These are your next steps from Obi-Wan. But yeah, this poster, man, the Knights of Ren, that was the first thing that stuck out to me was them being on it. Like you said, C-3PO holding a bowcaster. The guy could barely move his hands. Why is he holding a bowcaster? Then he's got this ammo around him, and it's clearly not the same belt that Chewbacca wears, because you can see Chewbacca wearing, and they both look different in the image. So we'll see what that's all about. The other thing I wanted to say to you, Obed, was the other character, the female character to the right. I believe the rumors that maybe she is. There's two female characters. The first one I'll talk about is the one that I believe to be Finn's sister. Some other people have said, could she be Lando's daughter? I don't know. Could be either one of those. I know there was rumors about a sister character or Finn's family or something. Since that was something that they might explore. We'll see. Either way, a new character, another fighter, maybe another person that was going to be a clone from the looks of her character's appearance. That's a little interesting about the whole clone army backstory. The other thing, obviously not clones anymore, because they were using actual humans. But anyways, the other thing being another female character that kind of looks like a bounty hunter, to me at least. I'm not gonna say necessarily Mandalorian. It might be, but yeah, that character I'm very fascinated, just because it's very mysterious. The mask, and never seen her before.
Yeah, I never seen that type of mask before. It looks like a Daft Punk mask type of mask. It doesn't look like a Star Wars mask at all. So it's it's a very interesting choice and design there. So yeah, wondering who this character is. Of course, was he like a new alien race? And we saw that when there was a leak for not toys. It was like concept art for costumes that were leaked a couple of weeks ago, and we saw that. Man, next week we'll find out. What's
for
up.
Sure, because next week is Star Wars Celebration, guys. I can tell you right now, Obed, I'll be keeping a close eye on that. I was this close to going there this year just because of different circumstances, work and life and whatnot. I just could not make it there, but yeah, Obed, this Thursday through Friday and Saturday and Sunday, all news will be coming out about Star Wars. So expect if we don't have an episode next week, the following week, expect a lot of Star Wars news because it's all going to drop. I mean, we're talking video games, everything. It's all going to drop at one time. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens to Star Wars from here, man. It's going to be real interesting.
I know.
Joel, we got some big gaming news this week again. So Apple had their event on Monday. Not too much to say because it got to the point where it was like it felt like artificially inflated. It was sort of pompous towards the end, and I didn't appreciate that much. But they did have or reveal, and remember last week I mentioned Apple may come up with a gaming thing for next week. We don't know because we were talking about Stadia. So Apple announced the Apple Arcade, and this is a game subscription service. No price or details yet. About the pricing model. They're targeting this fall for the service, and in essence, what they're trying to do is bring these games that people see on the App Store, but they cost $10-15. That are unique experiences, and people just don't pay for them because they're used to the pay a free to play model or going to the budget games. They're trying to go ahead and showcase some of these games. Of course, they had a really a well put together video as they always do with some developers. The one absolute standout was Hironobu Sakaguchi, of course, the creator of Final Fantasy. So he was there showing their new project from the Mistwalker studio, and it was, to me, very interesting, and it seemed a very earnest presentation and what they're trying to do to put these games out there. I really like this concept a lot more than Stadia, just because you're not dependent on your internet connection. You can download the game, you can play the game, and keep on going. This service will be available on all iOS devices. Of course, 64-bit iOS devices. If you have an old iPad, it's probably not going to work. And Apple TV. So what's interesting about Apple TV, Joel, of course, you don't have a touch device for the Apple TV. You do have a remote that has a touch sensor on it, but you do have the capability of using a controller for both, Apple TV and iOS devices. Very interesting. This is like I mentioned last week. I had a feeling that Apple was gonna do or talk some gaming during their event. But Joel, what do you think about this? It's not necessarily, again, not a streaming service. It's a game service. You pay, you download, you pay your service, you download your game, you play your game. Much like what Xbox Game Pass. So this is more akin to Game Pass than what it is to Stadia. But Joel, what do you think about this?
Yeah, overall, like you said, I think it's a fine and good concept. Actually, I think it makes sense. I think it's actually a good way of advertising it, where they just saying, look, you can download your games and play your games. They belong to you. Internet connection doesn't matter once you have the game. That's cool. That's great. I think that's a nice way of doing it. They didn't really do much else to sell it. It wasn't Google Stadia. Yeah. They had a really strong presentation, in my opinion. Apple I'm not saying the presentation wasn't strong. It was just very simple, and it was very speaking about conceptually and just saying this is what we're doing, this is where we're going. Where I would have liked them to have shown me something a little more to get me interested in it, aside from just showing me this simple concept that just to me it's like it seems cool, but I mean I don't think that I don't think the mobile gaming and the Apple TV audience are craving to play games on these devices. I think they gotta really appeal to the gaming community, and I just feel like now they're on the radar, but they're not necessarily a lot of anticipation for it until you show me something that really matters. So I'm not saying they're not taking it seriously. I'm just saying that it was nothing more than just an announcement, not an announcement that I can go run out and do anything crazy about. So it's fine, but I'm not actually as excited about this as I was about Google Stadia, in honesty.
Yeah, this is more again for gaming on the go, and you know, if you have an iPad and you like to play games on your iPad, this is probably what their target audience is going to be. You know, not necessarily people with phones, although phones, you know, are as capable as tablets now. But I think this is more of a like in the middle. You know, you got your free to play crowd, and then you have your core console PC gaming crowd. But then the middle has been left out for a while, and I'm the one to say, you know, and I am not a mobile gamer at all. Like, I don't play games on my phone, I don't play games on my iPad, but I've played some games, and the games that I played, like Super Mario Run and The Room, and this sort of experiences like this that I've really enjoyed. So those type of games are the games that are getting neglected by the audience. That people that don't want to pay $10, $15 to get the game, and they just want to keep playing their Candy Crush and putting money on it, and they're not realizing that they're paying more than just having to buy a separate game. So I think that's what they're aiming at. They're aiming at the middle ground between the core gamers and the casual free-to-play gaming market. And again, I think their presentation was very well put together. I think they have good intentions behind this. Sure. Versus Stadia, I like to use this word because I don't get to use it that often, but there's something about Stadia that's a little bit nefarious, and I don't, when it comes to like games conservation, this sort of thing, and the way that Stadia was put out there, like, it doesn't really speak too well to me. And I talked about it a little bit last week, but I think this is, you know, they want to put more creative a more creative approach to mobile gaming. If they're successful with the service, I can definitely see more companies joining in. Of course, we got companies like Sega and Disney that already said, "Oh yeah, we want to be a part of this." So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where it goes. I mean, that's really where they left me with this presentation. Was cool. I get what you're doing. See where it goes, and that's what we can do. So we'll see, man. We will see.
Yep, we'll see where this goes. Joe, we got some pretty significant PlayStation news this week. Before I jump in, Joel, do you see that there's a supposed leaked PlayStation 5 controller out there, which some people are calling fake? Some people pointed out, hey guys, when the DualShock 4 leaked, it looked awful, but it was spot on with the features. Did you have a chance to look at those pictures?
I did.
Okay, so it's basically DualShock 4 with a screen on it. Versus having a touchpad is an actual touch screen on the device. It looks like a 21:9 sort of aspect ratio screen. maybe for a keyboard sort of thing. That was interesting. I'm not a big fan of screens on my controllers.
Me either.
Can you imagine when someone rages, every time they rage, they break a controller because they break the screen? That's terrible.
It's true. And another thing too is like the size of the controllers. Yes, like they made them a little bit much better now with the DualShock 4. But if it's gonna be similar in size, it's gonna be a pretty small screen. Like it's not gonna be that big, and I don't even use the touchpad that much on the DualShock 4. There's that many games that utilize it that much.
No.
It's a cool feature, but like it's really used more like just as a button.
Yeah, now it's an extra button basically. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm not too crazy about it.
Yeah. So, we'll see if it's true or not. I guess we'll find out in a year's time or so. But there's some pretty big news. Of course, that State of Play event was on Monday, and again, people thought that this was going to be something that would set the world on fire. We knew it was going to be like smaller announcements and not necessarily crazy big stuff. It's funny because they presented a lot of PlayStation VR. It was like very VR focused presentation, and it's funny because you would see members of the community say, "Oh, Sony's gonna let the PSVR die, just like they let the Vita die." But then, here's a bunch of games for PlayStation VR, and then they go, "Where are the other games?" It's like they can't win.
No,
it's awful, man. I don't know. Well, just going through them, real quick. They did show again Days Gone, and they've confirmed the release date of April 26th for Days Gone. A game that they showed at E3 briefly, Concrete Genie. That game is coming out fall of this year. And then is a bunch of PlayStation VR stuff. The one big one that I want to point out, Joel, is the Iron Man VR. So what do you think of that?
No, that was the one that probably had me the most excited. I also saw it probably, talked about the most. I think if you watched Iron Man, if you've read Iron Man, if you've just been exposed to the totality of Iron Man, you've always wanted to see what would it feel like to be the man in the suit flying. And VR is that wonderful opportunity where you can just maybe will feel like they're in the moment, they're in the character's persona, and wow, Obed, this looks a lot better than even the Spider-Man VR, and I'm a big Spidey guy, you know that. But yeah. I got
the Spider-Man VR was more of an experience. This looks like it's more of a fully fledged game.
Yeah, this looks way full legit experience. So, Obed, I'm totally on board for this. I don't have VR right now, but I'm not against VR. So yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, I really haven't looked into PSVR just because of limited space and all this other stuff, but. It looks fine. It looks like it's gonna be competent. I don't think it's gonna set the world on fire, but it looks like it's gonna be fun. So
yes.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. The other one, for for the streamers out there, Five Nights at Freddy's is coming to PlayStation VR. So that's a huge one for a lot of people. Five Nights at Freddy's is very popular property, so. So I think just bringing it to PlayStation VR may have been just a really good decision in the part of Sony. So, or not necessarily in the part of Sony, but in the part of the developer. So, Joe, the other things that we're gonna talk about two sort of bit of news here. So the first one is that PlayStation will no longer sell third-party or retail digital game codes. So if you bought your game codes at, bought games digitally at GameStop or Best Buy or Amazon, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. to get digital games, you basically and exclusively have to go through the PlayStation Network. We'll go into the potential why in a second. But Joel, this goes in effect April 1st. So after that day, you will no longer be able to buy digital codes at GameStop. I'm assuming that they're going to be still selling the cards and still selling the PS Plus cards. But games that you would say, hey, I want DMC5 for PS4 digital, and they just sell you a receipt basically with a code. So they're no longer doing that. If you want, you would have to go through the PlayStation Store, which, in my opinion, Joe, I don't know why, unless it's like a brand new game, I don't see a reason why you would buy a digital code at GameStop when PSN has amazing sales every friggin' week. It's insane how good their sales are getting. So I mean, this is, in my opinion, this is potentially beneficial to those of you that choose to get your games digitally. Joel, what do you think? What do you think about this?
Same. I think we're of the same mindset, Obed, when it comes to this. Where why would you get digital not on the PlayStation Network? Like, if you're gonna get your games, like it's a no-brainer in that sense. I think like if I'm gonna go to GameStop, or if I'm gonna buy something on Amazon or Best Buy, I'm gonna get the physical copy. For me at least, I don't mentally think of, I'm gonna go here to go buy it and go pick up a code. I don't know, man. I feel like maybe there's not that many people maybe using it. Maybe that's something that does come into effect where it's not going to get people too angered about it. I don't know. Maybe use it that way. Like I said, PSN is a great great network. I think PlayStation does a very good job on it. It continues to impress me with their sales and their library. So yeah, I feel like I'm always thinking of physical copy. I mean, we're old school in that way ourselves, Obed. When it comes to our movies, when it comes to our games, we tend to buy physical copy.
Yeah.
I'm not against. We've had conversations about digital. We're not against having it. We just have our reasons for why we like our physical copies. But that could always change. You never know. But yeah, I just can't imagine me going out and saying I'm gonna go buy me a code. Like, it doesn't. This is fine. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. I don't see many people being really upset about this. The one sector of the community that I saw that was showing some concern was those that would buy games to gift to other people. Like, I would buy a code and I would send it to someone else via regular mail. So those were the only ones, which is interesting because you would be able to get these things online also through Amazon, and you can forward an email with a code and, oh, here you go, man, or whatever. You would be able to gift it that way. But that was the only sector of the community that I saw was a little bit upset about this.
Now you'll do PSN gift cards.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could still do a PSN. Yeah. I mean, if I want to buy something, might as well just buy them a $75 gift card or something.
Exactly.
And they can just buy the game digitally. So it's, I mean, it doesn't affect me necessarily. I don't think it's really detrimental to anyone except the retailers. But I'm wondering how much of their games are digital. I mean, at the end of the day, that has to be part of it as well. But Joel, the big rumor is that Sony has applied for a patent where in this patent they're including the opportunity to gift PSN games. So if you're my PSN friend, I can go ahead and log into my PSN account and I can buy a game for you, and you will receive the game on your end.
Okay.
So apparently there is a patent out there. There's that will give you the opportunity to do that. There were some rumors that the patent also included something similar to a digital games trade-in, but that is still unclear. There's they're not, I don't think that's going to happen in the immediate future, but the games gifting, I can see that happening, and I can see that being part of the reasoning why they're going in this direction. And I'm not sure if Xbox is going to do anything different, but I'm curious to see what those sort of numbers are. What sort of game digital sales GameStop do on their end. Like I mentioned, it's getting to the point, Joel, where shelf space is becoming more and more of a premium, and I think for the most part, like from now on, if it's not a collector's edition or like a special edition of a game or something, I'm probably just gonna buy it digital, and if it's a collector's, then I'll just go ahead and buy it. Buy the physical version of the collector's edition. At this point, you see myself out there. I got other stuff. I know. Yeah. I know. I can make room, right? But at the same time, it's like, if I make room, I have to put stuff away, in a box in my closet or in the garage. I don't want to put stuff in the garage because we live in Florida. So putting stuff in your garage is pretty much the kiss of death. So if it stays in the closet. So I don't want to, I have to do that. And, it's gotten to the point where it's like, what, I'm evaluating the digital stuff. Like, I bought 3 games for the Switch when I bought it, but I think that from now on, anything else that I get, it's probably going to be digital just because of that. So, it's just a lot more convenient, and, not having to stand up and swap discs. I'm sort of liking that idea more and more. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Again, PSN sales are awesome. I don't see why anyone would go and buy a full price game digital when you can get it, 30-40% off, sometimes more on PSN during their sales. And if you're PS Plus member, you get like an extra discount on top of that. So, I mean, it just makes sense just to buy the games on PSN. Now, when it comes to the games gifting, that's a different story. You can give someone a game, and that's fine, right? But like you said, just buy a PSN card, to be honest with you. Yeah. I think that Sony's moving into getting into position, man. They're getting very aggressive with their stuff and very protective. And with good reason, right? There's uncertainty on what and how the next generation is going to be received by the public. So I can definitely sense that a little being a little bit protective with their stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Joe, that's what I got, man. Unless you have anything else, or there's breaking news.
I just did an internet scrub. We look to be safe. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. But, yeah, man, it's been a great episode. Thank you all for joining us and listening to episode 86 of No Load Time. It's always our pleasure to talk with you guys about these fun and interesting topics each and every week. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you can hear our latest episodes as they drop. Even go back and listen to some of our past episodes. It's always great. Go ahead and subscribe to the show, the podcast version on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Also, you can subscribe to our video versions on YouTube. Make sure to share it with your friends. Of course, we could share it through social media. And, of course, follow No Load Time on social media. So go ahead and follow at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, guys, make sure to Send an email in if you have any questions, comments, something maybe you want to discuss on the show, or something you found interesting that we talked about on the show, and maybe you have a perspective on it. Send an email to nolotime@gmail.com. That's nolotime@gmail.com. Again, guys, it's our pleasure to be with you, and we look forward to talking with you guys on our next episode.
Yep, see you guys, and we'll see you again next time.